What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trek Epidemic podcast. This is a very special episode because we have our good friend, Jordan J. Hardner. How you doing, buddy?
Good, aren't I on every episode?
Yeah, but it's special because you're here now. You're currently here
Thanks.
at this very moment.
You make the podcast special for me too, man.
Okay, that's very nice of you. It's also a special episode because we have our good friend Craig from twitch.tv/Craig. How are you doing, Craig?
Hello, how are you guys doing? I'm wonderful.
Wonderful, Craig,
Ready to talk
Mr.
about
Wonderful.
more Star Trek.
Always ready to talk about Star Trek. Never not want to talk about Star Trek. This is a crazy one, specifically because the prosthetics are absolutely bonkers to look at. I couldn't stop looking at elderly Admiral Mark Jameson and his fucking melting face.
That's my first note right here. Horrible prosthetic.
He looked more like an alien than most of the aliens do in this show.
Yeah, the funny thing was you could totally tell it was some guy wearing makeup pretending to act old as opposed to really legit being some old guy.
I was looking at some reviews for this episode. That was like most people's complaint is they're like the prosthetics are bad, but wait till you get a load of this acting. It's wild. There's Karnas is the governor of this planet Morden or whatever, and there's like guns on the wall behind him. He looks like a classic Texas guy, general. And apparently there's some sort of negotiations that he wants specifically old ass Mark Jameson to negotiate.
Yeah, because he had negotiated, I think, something on that planet before.
Yeah, they mentioned that
Again.
he previously had negotiated for them, and they want him back. They didn't even know he was alive or not because he's so old and rickety. And almost immediately, he starts dancing around because he's taken some sort of experimental youth pills.
Yeah, he found the fountain of youth, and he's been drinking youth drugs.
That
and
old
stuff.
fountain of youth swagger. When you're in a
Yeah.
wheelchair and then you start doing the stanky leg out on the deck, dude.
I forgot what he had. I don't even remember the name of it.
Iverson's disease.
Iverson, there you go. And yeah, so he's got some disease. He's in one of those really bulky ass futuristic wheelchairs.
Now, this is a funny thing from the Wikipedia. That wheelchair cost 10 grand to make.
Wow.
The fuck?
Yeah, they were really pissed off because this episode became so expensive just to make that shitty wheelchair.
That's 10 grand in like 1990s money.
Yeah, it's like $100,000 or some
This is
shit.
still 1987, dude. So
Jesus. That's crazy expensive.
or 88 maybe.
Yeah, I think this one was 88.
Next season, there's going to be a person in a wheelchair in every episode, so they can justify that expense.
Yeah, they got to
dude.
justify the expenses of that one wheelchair.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. It's like the wheelchair was huge and bulky and just like really weird and obnoxious looking. And the funny thing is like, if you go and you watch the original series as well, there's that episode where Pike's like Captain Pike's in like the wheelchair thing as well. And it's like they're always so huge and bulky. You think by the future. I mean, you look at a wheelchair now in the current day, and they're pretty small. You can fold them up and stuff. These, like, you can't even fold it, man.
No, it's like it can barely get through the doors even.
Yeah.
It's like the transporter doors are huge too.
Futuristic wheelchairs,
I
man.
love future shit because that's the thing. That's the fun thing about Star Trek is sometimes they get shit right and sometimes they fail so miserably on what that's gonna look like.
They predict the future with like pads and stuff like that, iPads.
Yeah.
But then wheelchairs, they just fucking totally drop the ball.
Yeah, why wouldn't it just be like a fucking floating piece of plastic that you're sitting on? Like this is so obvious to me.
Just use a regular wheelchair. Fuck it. You could have saved 10 grand.
Yeah. So this one spends a lot of time about him talking about how he took like a experimental treatment and he's getting younger, and that almost feels like it takes up like the first 25 minutes of this episode.
Yeah, I feel like this episode's another snoozer, man. I'm just like, all right, get on with it. Where's the good parts?
It's not the worst episode in the world, but it does take so long to get to the point.
Yeah, and then him and his wife have a fight, and he's like, no, but I got you some youth drugs too. You're going to get young with me. She's like, what if I don't want to? And he's like, well, whatever, bitch,
He actually ate both of them, though. He ate both of their doses all at once.
Hell
If you
yeah.
don't, I'll get you more. I'll get more. Don't worry.
He's definitely gonna get more. It's funny like how quickly too he just turns into like a young guy. It's just like because he clearly didn't want to do the 5 hours of makeup or whatever.
Yeah, just think about that. Think about that process he had to go through, like at each stage, basically. All right, first off, we got you really old now. It
Yeah.
probably took like hours, and then it's like, all right, well, we got to take this makeup off and put you into the slightly younger version of the makeup. Then they do that, and they're like, all right, there's 3 other stages of this, so that
So
dude probably spent a
annoying,
lot
dude.
of time in the makeup
Yeah,
chair.
because it's TV, so you're not doing like fucking month-long shoots. You're probably shooting these things in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
he's
why they
probably
did.
sitting there complaining.
I think that's why they did so many shots where his face was covered in shadows, and then
Yeah.
they would
Yeah,
reveal
that's what I
that
was
he's
thinking, too.
actually gone down an age level because they could get away without doing as much of the prosthetics.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what that filmmaking was about because it was a wild choice a lot of the time.
Yeah, I bet he was complaining. He's like, goddamn wheelchair costs more than me. While he's putting on his
He
makeup.
probably did get paid less than how much the wheelchair cost. That is hilarious.
Wheelchair.
So at some point he explains that the last negotiation he actually just gave him the weapons that he was looking for and he falsified the report and created a civil war that lasted like 40 years on the planet. So this time
Good
he
job, Jameson.
yeah, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. He's like he wants to be at his best, so he took the aging pills and
You
make
ever
things
notice
right.
that Starfleet admirals are really just shitty.
Yeah, they're
They're
usually
all
pretty
just, like,
bad.
Really shitty people. It's like, how do they make it to the admiral chair? You know?
Well, that's how you work your way up the up politics generally. So you have to be
yeah,
a
right. The
pretty
future's not
shitty
much
person.
better, it seems.
Yeah,
The leaders are still a bunch of assholes.
yeah. So they're like, we got to go get these. There's terrorists here. We got to go get these hostages. They're Federation hostages. And then at one point, Karnas, the guy, insinuates that he has the hostages. And regardless of that, Jameson's like, we need to go into these tunnels because that's definitely where they're gonna be. Like they would be in the same place.
He's like, he's gonna just do the same thing that he did 40 years ago. Trust me on this one.
It's like he specifically called you here to fuck with you. Why would you think that he would do the same thing?
He's gonna do the same exact thing. I know. And that was the funny thing about his voice, like throughout the episode too. It starts out like, you gotta go negotiate this thing, and then it was like, okay, he's gonna do this plan. And it's like, hey, how's it going? I'm back to my normal voice.
Yeah, then he's just a guy. It's like, oh, that barely even looks like the same guy. And like to be fair, they like that shitty prosthetic on his chin and shit really does make him look different.
No, it does. It really did. Worst prosthetic ever, man.
Yeah, it's very bad. They do end up going down to these tunnels, and of course it is an ambush, because why wouldn't it be an ambush? And fucking Mark has a heart attack while they're fucking shooting at each other.
Yeah,
Think
they're
about
just
that.
like, I love how they're like, I forgot who told me. He's like, yo, their phasers are set to kill. And he's like, yeah, thanks. I know the sound. Like Picard was getting all angry.
Yeah, I think it was
so-
Yar.
Yeah, and then friggin' Yar was shooting everybody. Like nobody else fired a single shot except Tasha Yar.
Yeah, she's good on the trigger.
They're like, well, you're the security officer. You better take care of all this. We'll just sit back and give you moral support.
What were you gonna say there, Jordan?
Oh, I was gonna say that was weird because the ambush started off with them like triggering some sort of infrared sensor that like detected that they were there,
Uh-huh.
like some sort of like trap laser. But isn't that like LaForge's whole eye visor thing? Is that he can see that stuff and he was there? I was a bit confused by that personally.
That's actually a good point.
That might have been an oversight that everyone except for you missed.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look, it's called writing, man. Things work when they're supposed to work, and then they don't when they're not supposed to.
Yeah, it's called writing.
Fair enough.
So they just beam up immediately, and then they're like, then he's like, I want Jameson, bring him down here, and we can negotiate, and I'll free these hostages. But he's young now, so how is he ever gonna believe that it's him? How about show him the scar first? Why does it take so long to get to that?
Yeah,
But
that's the
also-
funny thing.
Why didn't the scar regenerate? His disease went away.
That's interesting to think about, I guess.
Why didn't the scar go away.
I guess because it's just like.
It's called writing, okay?
The fountain of youth only works when it needs to.
I mean, I mean,
Things only work when they have to work, and they don't work when they need you not. And they need them not to work.
I mean, it's just a fountain of youth for like. It doesn't does that necessarily mean your skin's gonna tighten up and shit and
Oh,
heal?
apparently, I mean, look how young he looked from that old man.
That's true. He
you
was
know?
tight. You could throw a quarter at him and it would bounce off. He was so tight.
Do you think he would have stayed with his wife though? If he,
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he probably would have just waited until she passed away.
It's like, right? She's like, well, you're old. You're gonna die soon, and I got my whole life ahead of me again.
Yeah. And I do like that he just keeps having heart attacks and is so fucked up from the aging drug. And he's just like basically there writhing in pain, and Karnas is like, that can't be him. How could that be him? For like 15 solid minutes.
Right? Like that. He just everything. Like Picard's like, no, it's him. Look.
I
Here's pictures of
couldn't
the
believe
agent.
how long that scene took.
Yeah, it's like, here's some proof, and then Karnas is like, whatever, you're lying, Picard. I don't believe you. And then he gets up. Jameson gets up and starts talking to him. He's like, show me the scar. And then I was like, oh, that's it. You could have just asked like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, because there's like
You
a
could've
whole
saved
scene where
this.
he's like talking about things he did last time he was there, and he's like, he could have just told you that. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know why we have to
called
go through 3 of these things to get to the
Called
point.
writing,
But
man.
yeah, it is called writing. That is true. It is called writing. I do like this one because even that Karnas guy is like, the overacting is strong in all of these guys, and I like when that happens because it's just funny to watch.
Yeah, he was just like, he was really excited to be on Star Trek, and he felt like this was going to be his breakout role,
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna finally
I
get him in,
recognize
like,
that
the
guy. He plays one of the doctors in Halloween 4: The Curse of Michael Myers.
Did he overact in that as well?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, nice. What a boss.
But you want to if you're in a Halloween movie, I think.
Yeah, he was like, this is my breakout role. And it just never happened for him. Poor guy.
That's sad. When you're just like one of those old TV actors and you're like, I'm gonna break through, but you
I'm
don't.
going to break through finally. Star Trek's my big break. And then it was like, no. And then Halloween 4, no.
Yeah. The old
Poor guy.
eternal quest for youth is this one. Again, not a very good episode, but I think it's certainly more watchable than that 80s Mom one. But just barely. Just barely.
Yeah, barely. Like, just barely. I don't know, man. Like, I always say first season has, like, some really good episodes, like, but a lot of them are just, like, ugh. Like, ugh. Just, ugh.
Yeah. Jordan, why don't you start this off? What do you rate this one?
Probably give it like a 1.5 or a 2.
Ooh, a 1.5 to 2. Nice. Craig, what do you got on this one?
I was going to give this one a 2.
A 2. Nice. Yeah, I was going to give
my
it.
notes right here. It says, hostages freed. Episode ends. It was so bad.
Yeah, I was thinking like a soft 2 or like a 1.5 because it's a wacky one. It is kind of fun. I think it's kind of fun to look at the fucking prosthetics. He looks like a fucking Muppet, dude. Like it looks like they're like looks like there's a man holding him and like fucking jimmying him around.
For this episode on Prime Video is hilarious because it's him on the main viewer. And, like, he just looks so old, and the face he's making, like, you can clearly just tell. It's like, that's just a young dude with makeup on. It's like, this is how bad it looked.
Yeah. Fucking, that's like basically Halloween makeup that they put on this fucking guy.
Basically, I mean, they went down to Spirit Halloween, got a mask, and were like...
They couldn't afford good makeup after they made a $10,000 wheelchair.
Yeah, the wheelchair was, like, the whole cost of the episode.
Yeah, they're like, shit, we're out of money. We got to go to Spirit Halloween to finish this episode off.
Jesus. It's the truth, though.
Absolutely. So next week on the show, we're going to be talking about an episode called When the Bow Breaks. So tune in for that one. It's going to be fun.